guys, so I'm wearing my Harvard Law merch because I go to Harvard Law. Just kidding, I go to a community college. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to get straight A's in nursing school, even if you're not super naturally smart, or you never really got good grades, or you just don't consider yourself a super studious person, whatever. I'm going to tell you how you can get good grades. The first thing is, I do not waste time on strategies that just don't work for me. It's often shoved down our throat to read the book. So professors will say,
if you don't read the book, you're gonna miss these questions and this information and you're gonna fail.
And blah, blah, blah. In rare cases, this is true. Maybe you will fail if you don't read the book. But in most cases, that's not true at all. For me, reading does not, never has, never will worked for me, ever. When I read something, I can read it 40 times over and I still don't understand what's being said. I'm not comprehending what's being said. I just zone out, I'm doing my own thing, whatever. So I just don't waste my time with it. I just don't do that. Instead, I focus on using strategies that actually do work for me. So that way I can use my time actually studying, because that's not studying if you're reading and not getting anything out of it. That leads me into my next point, which is finding your most efficient way of studying. So think about a class or a project or a lecture or whatever where you really retain the information. What kind of teaching style was used, or what kind of project were you doing? This can help you figure out how you learn the best. What information did you actually retain, and how was it taught to you? How did you learn it? My best memory of information that I learned came from games that we played. So if we played Jeopardy, I remember that information really well. Like where we just wrote on the board, I remember that well. So you have to really sit down and think of how you learn information the best. This can help you fine-tune your way of studying. So for me, I like to get a whiteboard and review a few slides at a time. Then I'll close the slides, put them away, get out my whiteboard, and dump every piece of information that I know onto this whiteboard. This works for me because I feel like I'm actually learning the information instead of just being able to recognize it. So other ways of studying just didn't work for me. So reading or just looking over the PowerPoints, I would see a multiple choice question and just see a word that I recognized and be like, oh, well, I recognize that word, so I bet that's the answer. With this way of studying, I actually know the information and I know what everything means instead of just recalling it whenever I'm prompted. Does that make sense? If you haven't yet found your way of studying, try this out because it worked wonders for me. The next tip is to study with intention. So you don't want to sit down and study just to say you're studying, because you're just going to zone out and get nothing out of it and you're not even really studying that. You want to make meaning out of everything you do. The way that I do this, I'll sit down and I'll think about how important it is to me to pass. So I want to pass so that way in 2 years from now, I'll have a stable job, I'll not be in school anymore, and I'll have my life figured out or whatever. I think about that kind of stuff. I also think about how bad it's gonna hurt if I fail. This might seem harsh or a little depressing, but the truth hurts. And if you keep that in the back of your mind, that'll motivate you to study hard and study with intention. You wanna allot a specific time that you're gonna study. Get rid of all distractions, get any little nagging tasks out of the way so you're not thinking about it, and you want to sit down and study and mean it. Study like your degree depends on it, because it does. My next tip is not to wait till the last minute. And I know this is kind of cliche and whatever, but it's true. If you think about it, studying for 2 hours each day sounds way better than studying 10 chapters in 2 nights. Does that make sense? You're gonna be more stressed and retain less information if you try to cram it all in a couple days. If you sit down after your lecture and review the information, even if you just look over it for 15 minutes, that's better than nothing. If you try to cram it all into a couple nights, you're gonna stress yourself out. You're probably not gonna do as well as you could have done. The next tip is to listen in class. And this sounds, again, very cliche, but some people don't mean to not listen in class. They are just taking too many notes. They're trying to write down every single word that the professor's saying. You don't wanna focus on writing as much as you wanna focus on actually listening. What really worked for me was downloading the PowerPoints onto my iPad and writing over top of the PowerPoint. So that way I didn't have to try to write every single thing that she was saying. I just had to write the little notes that she would add in. This makes so much of a difference, because if you're sitting trying to study and you don't know what something is because you weren't listening in class, then you have to take time to go look it up and figure it out, whatever. That adds so much extra time and effort that you just don't need to do. If you just listen in class the first time and just take a couple notes, you're gonna see the information and be like, oh yeah, I remember what this is. The last thing is so corny, but you need to believe in yourself. You need to realize that you are so smart. You are so much smarter than you give yourself credit. And I'm not just saying this. I don't really know you, but I know you. Do you know what I mean? I know you because if you clicked on this video, you're just like me and you're thinking, how am I gonna pass nursing school? How am I gonna do good? I have no idea. You're gonna do fine. You're literally gonna do amazing. And stop doubting yourself. See, Roman says, stop doubting yourself. That's really all I have for this video. If anybody has any suggestions or anything you want to see, just let me know in the comments. I'm sorry if I was rambling or if I'm not making any sense. I'm just speaking from the heart and the soul. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you have anything to add, go ahead and leave it down in the comments so people can see what all the rest of you have to say. Let's get through nursing school. We got this. We got this, guys. Have faith in yourself. Believe in yourself. We're gonna do great. I love you. And peace, love, applesauce. Love you.